Hey, Amy Posner here, and I want to talk to you today about partnering with clients. What does that mean? When is it a good idea? When should you run screaming from the building? And how do you know what's what? So let's talk about this concept of partnering. One thing I want to say right up front is I have often heard, I've heard it myself, I've heard it from clients, the client or prospect who promises you, if you just do this little test to see if you have a fit and see if your work styles are compatible or see any number of things, and then if it works, we have so many projects down the track. We have a stack of things. We're looking for somebody to handle them. That's a go running from the building red flag. It's a total come on. Good clients may want you to run a test, but not an unpaid test. Sometimes, especially with clients who have marketing departments, companies that are a little bit bigger, they often have a process in place for outside contractors, and that's fine. And they often, they pay for it. They pay fair market value to see if you're a fit, as well they should. You should be respected right from the get-go. So whenever someone wants you to do something for free with the promise of more paid work down the track, just run. Just say no. You can say, yeah, I'm happy to do a test, but as long as it's a paid test, perfectly understand the need to check for fit. Now, on the contrary, a really good time and way to partner with your client is as a strategic expert. Some of this may seem dead obvious, but or at least it did to me, but it clearly isn't, because I keep having this conversation over and over with people, and I keep seeing the light bulb go on. And what that is actually being a strategy partner for your client. I can't tell you how many clients have said to me and have said to other people I know, oh, you do way more than copywriting. This is strategic. This is what I need. So don't assume on the surface that A, they know what you can offer, or B, they know what they need among your services. And so where that can start very often is with the sales call. Discovery call, whatever you want to call it. When you're in that initial meeting with them, and ideally, you've vetted them first and what you're getting into a little bit on the call, but the way that you show up on the call can really underscore whether you're a strategic partner or not. I am a fan of taking my time on those calls. I do vet people pretty carefully. So if I've gotten on a call with them, chances are good we have a fit, at least for what I offer and for what their project is. Whether we like each other, whether our timelines are going to coincide, whether we see eye to eye, those are all things that we can determine on the call. But I always like to give some strategy or give my perspective. And, so the call will normally be, let's talk about the project and what you need. And then I'll tell you, what I can do. And if I see, a solution and how I think I can help. And so someone will start talking about what it is they're trying to achieve. Because usually when people are in a call with us or in a meeting with us, it's because they've got a problem that needs solving. So what I will do then is talk strategically about the problem. Now, they may already have a solution to the problem. Like, so let's just take a common one, for example. Say they're looking to generate more leads. And so they may already be generating leads. Maybe what they're doing isn't working or it's not working great. And maybe they have a new idea. They've heard about something and now they want to implement it. And so I'll listen to everything that they're saying and then I'll add my viewpoint. I mean, I've got years in the field. I've seen stuff. No matter how long you've been in the field, you've either seen stuff or stuff because you've been studying, reading, hanging with the right people. You don't have to say, look, I did this. You can say, here's what I know. But often what I'll do then is talk about strategy and different ways that they can achieve their end goals. So say they're telling me, we have this funnel and, we run Facebook ads and we run to this landing page and then we're doing a webinar and, all these people are falling out. We get people sign up for the webinar and then we never hear from them again. And then we have all these people we know are interested and they never signed up for the webinar. And so we just feel like, and I've got this big leak then in my bucket and it needs to be plugged up. And we're talking about their, lead gen funnel bucket, if you will. I'll just take the conversation from there and I'll ask them, like what's working? I'll ask about each part of the funnel. Like, so tell me what happens. What's your conversion on your Facebook ad? Let's see if they're getting a pretty good conversion over to the landing page, but people are dropping off on the landing page, or are people signing up for the webinar or not? I want to know where, and there'll be drop off at every point in the funnel because that's just how it works, right? That's what a funnel does. It filters out from the, the wide top to the pointy bottom, like who's left, that goes through the bottom of the funnel. So, and I'll talk to them about different ways that could be achieved. And I'll say that, I can say, look, it sounds like you're getting pretty good numbers from your Facebook ad to the landing page, but they're not converting on the landing page. So I'd like to take a look at that. Chances are I won't have seen that before we meet. I'd like to just take a look at that, and I'd like to look also at what you've got. What do you use currently for a follow-up sequence on the back of the webinar? I'll ask them about that, and then I'll say, and what are you doing for your webinar no-shows, or for the people who were, if you've captured their name here and they haven't signed up here. So, I'm just in conversation now with somebody who literally has tens of thousands of people who came through the first part of the funnel, and then they haven't done anything with them. So they're now playing catch up, like, oh my God, we've generated interest for all these people, but now nothing's happening. And so, I can start talking about what typically happens with a webinar. And typically, about a third of the people that sign up show up. But so now you've got a 70% pool over here of people who still have a real interest in what you're offering. They may just not have an interest in the webinar, or they may not be able to make the time of the webinar. And so having a series to follow up with those people, even, give them pieces of the webinar parsed out through email, it can be a really good strategy. There can be other like webinar replay strategies. There's all kinds of things that we can do to engage the 70% and increase the sales at that point in the funnel and stop the leak. And the leak is all the people that are signing up for the webinar that aren't showing in this case, that they're not talking to. So if 100 people sign up for the webinar and 30 show, there's 70 interested parties who are just like, sorry, see you bye. You're not going to hear anything from us that's different than anything that everyone is hearing from us. And people who raise their hand to say they want to go, they've got an interest. That means they have a genuine interest. Where people who don't sign up, maybe it's not right for them at the moment. But that segment of people is a larger segment than the people who showed, and so you really want to address them in a very specific way. And then I'll talk about some of the ways that gets done. I'll talk a little bit more about funnel strategy. But the point is, I am doing two things. I'm demonstrating my expertise. Obviously, if I can talk about this so fluently, I've got the experience with it. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm trying to get a sense of how they respond to strategy and these big picture conversations, because somebody's sitting there like this, they're like, well, no, I'm not seeing it. I don't think we want to put our effort into that 70%. I think we want to do something different with the 30% who show up and, I think we'll increase our numbers best if we get more of the 30% to convert. That's an indication to me that they're not that open. They have an idea and that's what they're going to execute on. And they're not really looking for strategic input, which is less interesting to me. On the other hand, if they say, oh, wow, yeah, we kind of felt like these people were falling away, but we didn't know there was a strategy to capture them or to do anything with them or to try and convert them at that point into sales. We thought that would be being pushy. And then I can explain to them why it's not being pushy. And, that my belief about sales is you're matching someone with a problem with someone with a solution. And if you really believe in your solution, you should be screaming it from the rooftops. You shouldn't feel like you're trying to push someone or convince them to buy. You should feel more like you're doing everything you can to demonstrate the outcomes that they're going to receive if they do buy, because presumably they're already interested. And so I think that kind of partnering with your client sets you up for a strategic relationship all throughout the project, should you work together, because you've taken I was going to say upper hand, but it's not quite that, but you've demonstrated that you have expertise and that you're a willing partner. You're willing to share your expertise. Mm-hmm. I talk about this a lot. It's the difference between an order taker who says, sure, you want that written? I'll write it. And someone who says, not sure if that's going to serve you best. I think your budget might be better spent over here where we can get more conversions and then use that to fund, the next initiative or whatever it is. So my point is, be an active partner. Of course, you want to do it graciously. It's somebody's business. You don't want to be like bull in the china shop, like, you should be doing this. Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? It's their baby, right? So you have to be careful about what you say. But I think there's always a gracious way to say, here's what I've seen in the wild and here's what works. And it might work great for you. And this is something we might want to consider or talk about or think about or try. And I'll just say one more thing here, because I've had this conversation before where people have said to me, well, aren't you giving away your best stuff? And didn't you just give away like a free hour of consulting? And the answer is yes. You are giving away, sort of, a free hour of consulting. For me, it's worth it for two reasons. One is it gives me a chance to really vet the client and get a sense of what they're like. The last thing I want to do is be stuck in a 2 or 3 month project with somebody who drives me insane or who I don't like or who I don't agree with. That's one thing. But the other thing, it allows me to help them and actually demonstrate how I do business. Because once I work with somebody, I'm all in and they've got access to me. I'm going to be sharing ideas. I'm going to be sharing strategy. And I feel like giving away your best stuff, it just demonstrates what you know. I think what that results in is someone thinking, wow, if I just get this on like the initial discovery call, what's it going to be like to work with them? I'm going to really get good value. So you make an impression that way. And I also feel like, it doesn't have to be seen as free. If your rates are good enough and excite you enough, you can build that into your scope and your proposal. And I know it's after the fact and you may not get the job, and so it may be a wasted hour, but I can promise you if you do this regularly, you'll land more projects, and B, you'll get more confident because you'll have these conversations more often, and C, you will impress the right people with what you know and how you move in the world. And I know it can feel a little intimidating, especially if you're newer, but don't stand in the, confusion about what you know or don't know. Stand in what you've seen and what you've learned and tell the truth. You don't have to pretend you know something that you don't know, but be generous. Be generous with what you do know, because it makes a great impression. In closing, I'm just going to say one other thing for you to consider, especially if the idea of going off on a strategy tangent makes you a little nervous and you think does a client want to have this conversation? The conversations clients have with contractors are often conversations they're just not having with anyone else. They don't have the time to sit around and talk about their origin story, why they got into business, what's happening in their business, what's been going on the last couple of years or so. People really enjoy those conversations. They don't know they're going to. It's like, I'm going to get on another call, and it's going to be a meeting, it's going to take time. But I have found people just really lean into that conversation because it's very interesting for them to talk about this out loud and talk about it with somebody who understands business but isn't, closely involved and has some outside perspective. It can be really, really valuable to them. And I find the same thing when I land a project and I send out a very, very detailed questionnaire. And it's some heavy lifting for people, but I've had them comment, this was so good for me to just sit down and sort of take inventory of what I think, where I am, what we've accomplished. So it's a real opportunity for the business owner. So you want to provide that for them. It makes them feel better about you. You're the one who's prompted this conversation and this thinking and this new way potentially of looking at things. So don't partner with somebody for no money. Make yourself a valued partner by sharing and demonstrating expertise and knowledge. And I think that you won't go wrong in landing better clients who value what you can bring to the table as a partner/strategist. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. If you do want to get notified when these new videos drop, click the bell and you will be notified. One drops every week. If you have questions or comments, just enter them below and I am happy to answer or even take on a topic that you're concerned about in a next Cut to the Copy video. Okay, take care.